On March 31st, 2026, the world lost one of its most powerful humanitarian voices, Stephen Lewis, a man who spent his entire life fighting for justice, equality, and human dignity. From Canadian politics to the global stage, his journey was not just about success, it was about impact. In this video, we explore his complete life story, his final battle with illness, and the legacy he left behind. Stephen Lewis was born in Ottawa, a city where decisions shape a nation. But for him, politics was not distant, it was deeply personal. His father, David Lewis, was a major figure in the new Democratic Party. Growing up in such an environment meant Stephen was surrounded by ideas of justice, fairness, and responsibility from a very young age. As a child, he listened to conversations about inequality and human rights. These weren't abstract ideas, they were real issues affecting real people. Slowly, these discussions shaped his thinking and built the foundation of his character. He developed a strong sense of empathy early in life. He cared deeply about people, especially those who were struggling. At the same time, he discovered his ability to speak, not just to talk, but to move people emotionally. This combination of empathy and communication would later define his entire life. At the University of Toronto, Stephen Lewis began to grow into the person the world would later recognize. University life gave him space to think, question, and express. He became involved in discussions about politics, society, and global issues. He wasn't just observing, he was engaging. It was during this time that he developed his signature speaking style, passionate, emotional, and deeply human. He learned how to connect with people, not through complex language, but through honesty and conviction. His voice became his greatest strength. Stephen Lewis entered politics with a clear mission to stand up for those who are often unheard. He rose quickly and became leader of Ontario's new Democratic Party. As leader of the opposition, he became known for his powerful speeches and fearless attitude. Unlike many politicians, Stephen didn't hide behind formal language. He spoke directly, often emotionally, about real issues, poverty, inequality, and injustice. He fought for workers' rights, better health care, social equality, fair opportunities for all. People didn't just listen to him, they felt his words. But over time, Stephen realized something important. The problems he cared about were not limited to one country. His mission was bigger. Stephen Lewis stepped onto the global stage when he became Canada's ambassador to the United Nations. This marked a turning point in his life. Later, he served as the UN Special Envoy for HIV/AIDS in Africa, and also held a leadership role at UNICEF. During this time, he traveled extensively across Africa. What he saw there changed him forever. He witnessed communities devastated by HIV/AIDS. Families were breaking apart. Children were growing up without parents. Entire villages were struggling to survive. This was no longer politics, it was human tragedy. Stephen Lewis became one of the strongest global voices during the HIV/AIDS crisis. He spoke openly and honestly about what he had seen. His speeches were not diplomatic, they were emotional, direct, and sometimes uncomfortable. He challenged global leaders, especially wealthy nations, for not doing enough. He demanded action, funding, and accountability. What made his voice powerful was not just what he said, but how he said it. You could hear the pain in his voice. You could feel his urgency. He wasn't speaking for himself. He was speaking for millions. To create real change, Stephen founded the Stephen Lewis Foundation. The goal was simple but powerful: support grassroots organizations in Africa. Instead of large, distant programs, the foundation focused on local communities. It helped people directly, especially women and children affected by HIV/AIDS. Through this work, communities received essential support. Women gained strength and independence. Children found hope again. This was where Stephen Lewis's impact became deeply personal and lasting. Over the years, Stephen Lewis received many honors, including becoming a Companion of the Order of Canada. But awards were never his goal. His true achievement was the difference he made in people's lives, often far from the spotlight. Beyond his public work, Stephen Lewis was a family man. He was married to Michelle Landsberg and had children, including Avi Lewis. Those who knew him personally described him as kind, thoughtful, and deeply emotional. He carried the weight of the world's suffering, but he never lost his humanity. Stephen Lewis passed away on March 31st, 2026, at the age of 88. Location: Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Cause of death: Stephen Lewis died after a long and courageous battle with stomach cancer. For several years, he fought the disease quietly. Even as his health declined, his spirit remained strong. He faced his illness the same way he faced life, with courage, dignity, and strength. In his final days, Stephen Lewis remained in Toronto under medical care. He was surrounded by his family, the people closest to him. There was no drama, no noise, just a peaceful and dignified farewell. It is said that even during his final period, he remained aware of the world around him, still connected to the causes he cared about. A life spent fighting for others ended in quiet strength. After his passing, tributes came from around the world. Leaders, activists, and organizations, including the United Nations, honored his work and legacy. Many described him as a voice of conscience in a time of silence. His death was not just a loss for Canada. It was a loss for the world. Stephen Lewis's work continues even after his death. The Stephen Lewis Foundation still supports communities. His speeches continue to inspire. His message continues to spread. He showed the world that compassion is powerful. Speaking up matters. One person can make a difference. Stephen Lewis didn't live for fame. He lived for people. He didn't stay silent. He spoke when it mattered most. And on March 31st, 2026, the world lost a voice, but gained a legacy that will never disappear.